we're gonna bring in a longtime friend, a great YouTuber, Karsten the Oracle, going with the smooth cut now. Got a little shaved down. You had grown it out, right? You had like long hair for a little while.
Yeah, last year I was doing the like shoulder length hockey haircut, but yeah, I decided to cut it. It was just too much. I don't like to take care of my hair anyway, so it was annoying. So
the thing is, like when you play hockey, you gotta have long hair for the flow. When you're like skating fast, so you can feel the wind in your hair, and just like you feel elite when you're skating. It's
yeah, my teammates were pissed when I came with the buzz cut. They like didn't want me to play anymore.
So, dang. So you're still playing?
Well, I'm kind of stopping now. It's tough to play because I have a kid now. So
congratulations,
congratulations. Way to have a kid and not tell anybody.
Yeah, staying anonymous a little bit, but
boy or girl?
Congrats. How old's the boy or girl? How old?
It's a girl, and she is almost 9 months. So.
Wow.
Congratulations,
daddy,
daughter,
daughter, daddy got a 9-month-old. I'm sure the kid is just absolutely adorable. And this is the fun time. Like, it sucks, right? Because you're like up late and you're cleaning out bottles, but you'll remember this time as the time of your life, because it's really the only time that the kid actually needs you.
Yeah, well, she's at that point where she looks at you and she recognizes you and she gets all happy and starts crying. So yeah, it's the best right now.
That's awesome. Congratulations, brother. So what was this season like as a Browns fan? I mean, obviously you had some level of expectation.
Yeah.
I mean, just take us through like what the season was like, and then we'll ultimately ask, like, what do you think of Deshaun Watson? So
well,
start there.
The offseason sucked because it was just all wrapped around the Deshaun Watson storyline. And you had the fans who were just really excited that you got finally like a decent quarterback. And then there was just fans like me who just, the whole thing was just overwhelming and you didn't know how to feel. Obviously, there's not a lot of people defending Deshaun Watson's character.
So some diehard Cleveland fans.
It's like there's the side of it where you're cheering for a guy like Baker Mayfield because he's got the underdog mentality, but he's just not good enough to be the guy. But it's easier to cheer for that guy than maybe a more talented player who's got this background. So that kind of overwhelmed everything. And then with the whole suspension talk of like how many games is he going to start right away? Is it just 4 to 6 games? And then it turned into 11. And then it kind of threw the season out the door. It became like a whole, let's see who we can develop. Let's see how Brissett does as the backup until, he's benched. And ultimately, despite that, I still was hoping we were a fringe playoff team. And it just there was
you kind of were though. Like there were times in the season where you were in it. Like you were relevant. How much blame do you put on
Brissett actually did well.
Brissett was a top 10 quarterback in QBR, and he was not the reason they lost games. I mean, you look at week 2 against the Jets, the Browns were up 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's like I think you put it in your thumbnail, but
it's Joe Woods.
1 in a billion.
Joe Flacco throws it deep and no one's covering the guy and they get the onside, and it's like to lose to anybody. It's like Joe Flacco, now old man on the Jets. And that the whole season felt like that in a way where every game was just a stupid way to lose despite having a backup quarterback, and him not being the reason you're losing. It's because the defense didn't become what it was supposed to be. And the whole season was like, fire Joe Woods from the fans. And Carson did that. That's fine.
I do have a question though with Deshaun right now. He's struggled big time. Do you still has that optimism in him fallen wayside, or do you still think it's just like the jitters of not playing for a bit?
As an optimistic fan, I always get that optimism throughout the offseason and it builds up. And so the narrative I'm going with is, if you look at Mike Vick when he came back, they didn't really know what to do with him in Philadelphia. He had taken 2 years off and they already had their kind of quarterback situation. So they were plugging him in randomly. It didn't really make sense. And that first year he was back was like a joke. Like, he started 1 game, he didn't really do much, and no one really knew if he was actually going to be decent. But the following year was his like comeback player of the year.
Yeah, that Monday night game was ridiculous. See, that's the thing. If Watson goes off one night and throws for 7 touchdowns, like you'll just start hearing that shit just kind of die down. Like no one's ever gonna let it go. Yeah. But like if he plays really well, like you're just gonna be like, oh.
It's the Big Ben mentality.
Yeah, I fully focused on the fact that he was gonna be rusty and it wasn't gonna be pretty. I mean, it was uglier than I thought it would be, but I'm not surprised how it went. And the team was in such a bad situation at that point because of the defense was a joke. We didn't think we were going to return some of the coaching staff anyway at that point. We weren't really a playoff team contending unless we put together like a Detroit Lions run at the end of the season, and even they didn't make it. So it pretty quickly became a season of looking to this next season, which sucks. Like that's kind of how it's always been as a Browns fan, is week 7 or 8 comes around and you're like looking at the percentages of what's the odds of making the playoffs. And then and by usually November, you're looking at the draft mock drafts. So.
Yeah. How much blame do you put on Stefanski though? Like, is he a problem, or do you think that, I mean, this is what he's made it 3 years now, which is like a record. I think he's the longest tenured coach outside of Romeo Crennel in the Browns era. Like, do you think, like, does he have to make the playoffs next year to keep his job?
Yeah, I think so. I'm a fan of his because of what I saw in 2020. It's a weird year because of the whole COVID situation, no fans in the stands. And I think that does have a benefit on a young coach who's inexperienced. But the team, how it looked with Baker and Freddie Kitchens in 2019 versus how much it improved in 2020 was just so night and day that I was like, okay, this guy's a real coach. Like, this guy can actually put together something that works. It's obviously been 2 years since then, and a lot of disappointment, and him everyone hates his press conferences and the stuff he says. So I think that there's some traits he doesn't have as like a kind of rally the troops and get people to believe. But I also think that when things are going well, I think he can bring that back. I think he's smart enough as a guy, as a football dude. So I'm going to believe in him for one more year. And if it's a total disaster,
right. You ain't going to be believing in shit if he goes 4-13. You'll be like, get this loser out of here. What the fuck? Like, I think he's a good coach. I think like I've said this a million times, when you're losing, everything you say sounds stupid. Okay. Like, you could be Albert Einstein.
There's nothing to say. There's nothing
right.
To say.
If Albert Einstein goes 4-13, like, you're firing Albert Einstein. I'm sorry.
Everybody wears out their welcome.
Yeah. Nobody cares what you're gonna do.
Yeah. And who are you gonna get as a Browns? The Browns are now trying to find a new head coach after firing Stefanski. Who are you gonna get that's gonna want to come to that? It's gonna be another guy that's got to prove himself. So
unless you throw a bunch of money at Bill Cowher or something, but I doubt that.
Yeah, I don't think Cowher wants to coach.
That's what I thought. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Is he from Ohio? Like, what are the connections there? Like,
I think he's from the area. I want to say. Let me double check.
I don't know enough. Since I'm not a Ohio native, I usually don't know those kinds.
He was born in Crafton, so never mind. I thought he was local. I thought he was Ohio. I think he played in Cleveland for a few years. Yeah, he played in Cleveland.
What do you see with, like, the defense and, like, with Garrett and, like, I mean,
well, they hired Jim Schwartz, who's has a proven track record as a D coordinator. Joe Woods got a job right away as a D coordinator, so it seems like he maybe wasn't the problem. Maybe there's other big problems because everyone was on his case about how bad he was, and if he can get hired that quickly as a D coordinator somewhere, just I don't know what that means, but. Jim Schwartz has a more proven track record as a D coordinator, and I think if they can, you know what's interesting is everyone had Andrew Berry's back, the GM of the Browns, and how much he had brought in great talent. But if you look at his drafts, and there's a lot of misses in free agency, and there are some major holes. Like interior D line's a joke, linebackers aren't great, and a lot of the secondary guys like John Johnson and other guys haven't been spectacular. And Denzel Ward, after getting his contract, it wasn't great. So there's just question marks everywhere outside of Garrett. And I'm eager to see what happens. Right now, it's a wait and see because the free agency, who are we going to bring in? Are we going to bring in an established star left or a defensive tackle? That's like, if you look at everything, every the biggest need is interior D line. And if you don't have a good interior D line, then everyone can just run on you. And it doesn't matter if you have a good edge rusher; they just run right through, you know, the A and B gaps. So, yeah, that's where it's at.
All right, let's talk a little. Let's pivot a little bit to your channel. Like, I mean, you're still, you know, you're still doing great. You've uploaded a little less. Has there been like any type of like it's a creativity, like where, like
it's called having a child.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Like,
I just found a rhythm that works for me. It's like 3 videos a month. I'm only focused, like I after so many years of doing it and like looking at my own data and stuff, it's like it's been in like the right amount of work that I can do while doing other things in my life that I want to do. So that's where it's at right now. Yeah, I mean that's just what it's at.
No, mad respect, because like, I mean, the quality hasn't dropped down at all. In fact, I would say your videos are better than ever. It's just like you used to upload, you know, once a week or twice a week, and now it's more infrequent. And I was just like, I was wondering, like, is something up? And then now you say that you have a kid, so now it completely makes sense. Them babies will drain you emotionally, physically, like, like it gets easier, but like, this time, oh man. Like,
I also care more about my creative process and making the video that I'm happy with, because like money wise, I'm doing fine. So I'd rather make more things that I'm proud of than just kind of get 1 or 2 more videos out a month and just to get them out. So that's where it's at for me.
Yeah, you don't want to just pump out content because it's content, right? Like, you don't just be like, oh, okay. But the damn algorithm, like, I think that's the one thing that's probably hardest for us to let go, is looking at the numbers, watching them tank and being like, I gotta upload to fix this problem.
But I've always relied on the long-term algorithm for me, because I've always been someone who's never had amazing day one numbers or 48-hour numbers or week one numbers. But like, even I was just looking at the video that Tree and I made a few years back about the biggest disasters in Browns history and ranking them. And that video didn't do amazing in the first like year. And then it's like over time, it's just gone up. Like it was like 200,000 in the first year, and now it's like 900,000. So it's just like, I've always had those videos though, that you see them and they didn't do great. They were a 10 out of 10 or a 8 out of 10 by that metric, you know, and then one day for some reason it takes it and runs. So
yeah, I've noticed though now the algorithm has shifted to like where it really puts a lot of emphasis on first day performance and like
first day
you
and
either pass, you either pass the test in the first couple of days. But like you said, I'll go back and I'll check on a video that I thought was shit, and I'll see it have 400,000 views, and I'm like, when did this? Like, because the drip is like so.
It's sometimes it happens with evergreen stuff.
Yeah,
all right, weird. Give us your Super Bowl prediction.
To keep it short and sweet, I think the Chiefs take it 31-27. I think that since they've been there, they got smacked in the mouth last time. I think they're just the more proven team. I think the Eagles have a better roster, but I'm not 100% sure where Jalen is with his shoulder. I know that he has looked pretty good, but
he looked damn good against the Giants. I mean,
he also, because he's a running quarterback, I mean, he's been a great thrower this year, but if he just takes one shot to that shoulder and it messes him up, if it like re-aggravates that injury and all of a sudden he's not the same guy, like I just worry more about that than Mahomes, because he can limp around and still do what he does. So yeah, that's my prediction.
All right. In hockey, what do you play? Forward, defense? Like
I was always right. I was right wing.
You're a right winger, because you're right-handed shot, right? Or
and I mean, it's just I was usually the guy who I can't skate well, but I'm just like chaos out there. I'm juking myself out, so we would get like a counter attack going, and I would sprint down and kind of beat the defender and get a one-on-one with the goalie. And it's funny because I would always get tripped up from behind. So I'd get like a penalty shot in the middle of the games. Nice. And no one else ever got those but me. And I'd get them like all the time.
Because you had that elite speed. That's what it is.
Speed, but not – it's like A+ speed, D- skating ability.
I seen you throw a football, though. We was eating out in Dallas. We were to this day. I don't care. There was never a squad like me, you, Flem, and Tree.
Yeah, we got to get it back together
Ian,
someday.
And Ian from SeatGeek. Ian was our MVP. He just came in and balled. All right, brother. Good talking to you. Good catching up. Congratulations, by the way, Carson,
Appreciate
the
that.
dad.
Congratulations.
And, looking forward to seeing more of your content coming out.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, brother. Love you, man.
See ya.
Peace out, brother.